Hello everyone, welcome back to the Foundry. My name is John. I'm here today with Sly. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you, buddy?
I could be a lot better because today the Foundry is reviewing Justice League, which came out November 2017. Run a little bit late to this party, but with the release of Infinity War, figured it's time to catch up a little bit with our superhero fandom. So, there's a lot of negativity behind this movie and with the DCEU entirely. Out of all the films released, Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, and Justice League, Sly, which one is your favorite?
Out of all of those,
Yes.
hands down, Wonder Woman.
I agree. I think that is objectively the better film out of all of those. Out of all those set pieces.
It's the only one that can actually make a blemish in the stands in terms of comparison from the DCEU to the MCU, honestly.
Right. I think that's the biggest problem with the DCEU's performance is that they're trying to play catch up with MCU. I mean, like, at the same time, they're like, we want our story to actually matter, and that's why, like, Zack Snyder has been the main director with pulling, like, hard punches because he directs cinematic movies and cinematic experiences. A lot of time people go to see superhero movies to have fun, but he's making, well, it seemed like to me he's making films that, like, I want these to have an actual impact that are truly art. Man, MCU movies, they technically aren't art. They're not made to be art. They're made to make money and for people to have fun. And at the same time, it's like it's trying to catch up to a series that is made to be having fun and make a lot of money, and at the same time, they're trying to make art. So it's like a big clash to me. But Justice League, Batman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Cyborg, Aquaman team up to save the world from this newly introduced villain Steppenwolf. So that's going on there. There's a lot of backstory behind the production as well. So firstly, I mentioned Zack Snyder earlier because he did Batman's Man of Steel and he did Batman vs. Superman, right?
Yes, he did.
Now, I cannot remember right now, but do you know who did Wonder Woman and Suicide Squad?
Ooh, off the top of my head, unfortunately, no.
Oh, David Ayer, I think. He did, I think he did Suicide Squad. I think he did.
Okay. For Wonder Woman,
I can't remember who did that one, but yeah, as I said, it had a very difficult production because Zack Snyder had to leave during the film because of a family death, tragedy. His daughter committed suicide, and then Josh Whedon took over and whatnot, and everyone's heard of the massive amount of reshoots and some upper lip malfunctions, I believe. So,
upper lip.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about here?
I have this faint. I have this envisionment of a squished face with no depth. It's just a vague memory, but yes, I believe I know what pedophile mustache we're referring to.
But we didn't see it in the film, of course.
Of course not. No. We saw something else, which was a knockoff Walmart brand of Superman. But
yes, the second tragedy involved with this film, I would say.
Honestly, unfortunately, it's the second.
Besides the film itself, of course. Yeah. So from
worst shot.
If you take a step back, and you look at it, the film was directed completely by two different directors, which doesn't really look like it, but it is. It kind of sucks for the second director, like him having to do the reshoots, which happens a lot in Hollywood nowadays with a lot of reshoots, and him probably having to accommodate to Zack Snyder's style.
And trying to make an adjustment to compensate for that. But you've got your own work style, and you cannot... It's hard for a director to assume, how would Snyder have done this?
Exactly.
I mean, you can only do it as best as you can, and they're two very different directors. It just didn't flow. So the movie does seem to have this pivotal turning point where it's like, okay, wait, what happened?
Mm-hmm. And I felt like it was a very lighthearted film compared to the other DC movies.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, nothing really felt impactful either.
Few characters felt a little bit just little backup characters. They didn't even feel like they're full potential was used. Their character was lost, sort of.
I agree. Which I think part of it does suck because I don't know if you knew this, but I did some research before we did this review. But apparently, Warner Bros. Has a time limit for their films. Do you know this?
I had heard of a time limit. I don't know what the extent of it is.
I believe it's 200 minutes, in which it has to include the credits as well. So I think that definitely puts a cap, like, for the film as well, because I think if they probably could make it a lot longer if they actually wanted to. I mean, if they were able to, I'm saying. But so we'll go into some bigger details here. So first we'll talk about the writing and the script and whatnot. But favorite line the entire movie for me is, "Here you talk to fish." Here you talk to fish.
I love that you bring up this scene, or this quote in general, because there's just so many problems I have with that discussion. For starters, there's the green screen scene that is just downright obvious when our fishy friend hops in the lake and the mountains just look so perfect and probably about 5 feet behind him. But not only that, on top of that, his mention about the strongest man is strongest alone, and then, well, what Batfleck is like, that's the opposite of the saying, and it's okay, that's great. So
my problem here, well, I had a problem with this, is that a lot of the characters try to make jokes that...
Agreed.
Like, I'm fine with comedy if it's done correctly. Like an actor with Chris Hemsworth, who can pull off comedy, and like Thor Ragnarok, I'm completely fine with it. Even though it's like coincidental humor, like that's fine with me, you know? If Hulk or fucking Loki being terrified of Hulk, that could be funny. Like that's funny.
Well, a lot of Thor Ragnarok was like not scripted. It was just spur of the moment. You've got that sheer excitement, and that's what is the best comedy. That raw, natural, like that scene where he's making mention of when they were a kid, and he's like, and then he stabbed me. Bah, you know, it's like okay, that's kind of hilarious. I almost shot myself. But in comparison to Justice League, it's like, and here's the punchline. You're supposed to laugh. Oh, sorry, you didn't? Oh, whoops.
Yeah, it's just like everyone has to crack jokes. Everyone has like needs to get their fill in of jokes. It's not like it's just I don't know. It's just like just everyone's cracking jokes, and it's like this is like every single character does not need to crack jokes. There can be other ways to get a laugh out of a film besides a cheesy joke or like something like that, or like the Flash, like I'm gonna touch your stuff, and Batman's like, don't touch my stuff. He's like, touches it anyway. It's just bad humor, but yeah, I felt like that was just everything delivered by any of those characters is so forgettable, and all the dialogue and just the script writing is just like completely
forced.
Just average or below average, but forced. That's the best way to put it right there.
Honestly, I feel as though the Flash's character, Ezra Miller, I feel like he was just absolutely wasted. Just completely a waste of a character. He was a filler. I think they scripted the wrong personality for a Barry Allen. I was already upset that they chose a Barry Allen over a Wally West for Justice League because, historically speaking, Wally West was the one that did join the Justice League, and he had a witty sense of humor. He was always like spur of the moment dude because he was quick on his toes, literally and figuratively. Having Barry Allen in, it's like, oh great, we've got Flashpoint, this and that, really depressed kid trying to get his daddy out, and all of the jokes are about him pretty much just scared out of his mind, honestly.
Right. So that's due to also the film being very rushed. Like I said, the 200-minute time limit. The film was very rushed. Just dialogue, storytelling, the plot. Just everything was
say it
just
was rushed in 2 ways. They have the 200-minute cap, which I understand that does put quite a limitation on the theater. But not only that, just rushing and trying to, just having the belief that they can cram all of this development and characters and story from what Marvel did in a grand scheme of 10 years into 1.5 years, honestly, for what, just like editing, it's not possible.
Yeah, the film incredibly rushed. I had another problem with just it kept wanting. It's like the whole point. It's like heroes are being forced to save the world because the world is being threatened or it's going to be harmed. But in the film, it barely shows you anything in the world. Like, it feels like they're in a barren wasteland in this movie because it literally shows one family in harm's way the entire time, even though they made it very clear that there are other people, like, in this huge fight at the end of the movie, but
it only showcased that one family.
It only selects to, like, show one family in danger, and it just felt like that no one was in any danger because it didn't show news. It's like, breaking news, America being attacked by so-and-so Steppenwolf or anything. It's just like, nothing felt real. Or even like, in the city, everyone was pitted against the Man of Steel, and there's the two cops. It's just blank streets in New York. Metropolis. That's what it was. Sorry.
It's just empty.
Yeah, it's just empty. It's just no one. It's like this. That's the thing with, like, superheroes. It's like,
city.
It's just, how can you have a city and just make a movie feel so completely dead? It just feels like such a dry, dead movie with such a dead tone. It's just, I don't understand it.
Even, I'm sure, obviously, I hate to touch bases on different trailers like Deadpool, where he makes mention of, it's so dark. Are you sure you're not from the DC universe? I mean, they've kind of lost touch with that. This movie was not even a somber, just like, whoa, like, this is some dark sides of these characters we're seeing. No, it was like just a bunch of stupid puns and silly jokes that just weren't hitting. And on top of that, the characters, when they encountered, our dear, Superman, it just bothered me. The whole setup for it, touch the water, send some sparks,
Yeah. So it's funny that you mentioned characters because that's what we had. Joke of characters throughout this whole entire film. Yep. Let's start off with Cyborg, Victor Stone. So previously to this film, we didn't have any real setup for Victor Stone, so they had to cram his backstory in, cram that he had a bad relationship with his father, cram that he felt like an outcast in this world, and cram some shitty jokes in there. And another issue I had with his character is that he just was there to give exposition. He was there to tell the audience things like, oh, he's so-and-so. He was only literally there to interact with certain devices. That's what Cyborg was doing. And
you know who he reminded me of from a previous film?
Who?
Angel from X-Men 3, The Last Stand. The way that they developed him, he had issues with his father. He was very wishy-washy in terms of character. He only came in at certain points. And he essentially was, he was just the tool man. Like, oh, we're just going to carry you around. You're not good for much else. Ironic.
Yes. But, like, I've seen some DC animated films. Like, that's what DC is very good with, doing the animated films about these heroes. And I've seen the story of Cyborg, and it is an interesting story that he has a bad relationship with his father, and that his father tries to save his life, but he ends up destroying his life and sacrificing their relationship just to give his life some sort of life, instead of him being dead, where it's almost seen as like a selfish act. So he can still have his son, but his son can't even have his own, his son can't even have his life, and it just feels complete resentment. And it's hard because the whole movie's so rushed and crammed that he can't express it. They can't show properly how this relationship is supposed to be, Yeah. And I can understand that they're trying to do that. Same thing with the Flash. He's got a relationship. He's got issues with his father as well, and they want to show you these issues because all these issues throughout their life has defined this character and whatnot, how they got there, and they just do such a bad job trying to make you care. It just sucks because it's like, I know these characters have interesting stories. It's compelling. It's sad. They're tear jerkers. They sure are. But in the movie, it's just laughable almost because it's like, it really is. It's just no exposition to what's going on because the film is so rushed.
The way to have done it would have been for DCEU to flip it around. They had Wonder Woman before Justice League. We got to see her relationship with Steve Trevor. That was his name, correct?
Yes,
the pilot.
it shaped her. It shaped who she is now.
Exactly. And it still bears resonance despite how long ago it took place. That really had an impact on who she was. And the director of that movie, Patty Jenkins, that was the name.
Oh yes, because yes. I remember it being a female, definitely, because she got some highlights and whatnot because of that.
Yes,
for sure. Great movie, by the way.
It really was. But with Aquaman coming out, what is it, late 2018 this year?
Is it?
I believe so, and I am very concerned.
Absolutely no fucking interest to see anything of Aquaman. Nothing at all. DCU. Who fucking cares about Aquaman?
I honestly, when I had originally heard, who is this Justice League going to be comprised of? They're like, it's an unusual character. I'm like, Green Arrow? It's he's pretty talented. He's like a knockoff Batman who shoots shit.
Mm-hmm.
Aquaman? What? We got the gag character? Okay.
Yeah, Aquaman with a huge gimmick with talking to fish and whatnot. It's like, let's get someone no one would really expect, and it's like one of the most underrated like DC characters. Aquaman, like, fuck Aquaman. All right, well, let's everyone makes fun of how he can talk to fish. Let's show them what he can really do. Fucking nothing.
Better yet, let's have him do the inspirational speech and have a bunch of corny jokes embedded in it, and scare the hell out of Ezra Miller. And my favorite thing about characters, J.K. Simmons. I don't know if you remember this.
No. I have a specific category that I wanted. I'll break it out right now. So we have these main characters like the Flash, Batman, Superman, and Aquaman. I also had a subcategory because there's absolutely zero people in this world apparently of Justice League. So I have a certain category I wanted to list here because I call them baggage characters, because every single hero has a baggage character. Cyborg, what's his baggage character?
His father.
The Flash, what's his baggage character?
His father.
The Superman's baggage character. He's got two, actually.
His mother and his girlfriend.
Yep. Batman's baggage character.
It's a mix of his parents' death and Commissioner Gordon.
Yep. Wonder Woman doesn't have a baggage character, and so...
And I wonder why her movie did well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't...
Correlation here.
I also do not
Aquaman's
consider...
character, Fish.
He doesn't even have any. It's just like... It's like, your mother was so-and-so. Who the fuck are you? Like, give us some backstory. What the fuck's going on in Atlantis?
I know we had beef, but... You're
so
a tight
terrible.
Amazonian.
It's like, we're guarding a city. 2 guards and Aquaman.
Can we just admit that the Green Lantern character that was presented at the very beginning...
I was so happy. That was the highlight of the movie for me. I was like,
it was the best part of the movie.
It was. I was like, holy shit, it's one of the Green Lanterns.
I would have watched that little scene be comprised into an entire film. I don't care. The Greek gods and a couple of the Green Lanterns, I would have watched that as a film.
That would have been absolutely amazing to see.
Would have been far better.
See, I bet that was a way better story than watching everyone act out in this fucking dead world.
Honestly. And you know what? It left a big question that was unsolved. I was very angry about it.
Why the fuck did we watch this movie? We saw who? I'm sorry, what?
We saw the Green Lantern that Steppenwolf took care of at that, ancient war with the...
Yeah, what the fuck? He put on the ring, didn't he?
No, the ring flew away.
Oh, okay.
The ring flew away.
All right.
We never got to see who the ring went to, which I have 2 theories. I'd be very upset if it was one of them. It's either our dear friend, Hal Jordan, which I'd be upset about.
I would prefer the latter.
The other Green Lantern.
Can you not? Yes, that's his name, John Stewart.
Marine, correct?
Yes, I believe so. Because everyone was a pilot in the Air Force.
Yeah,
John Stewart's the best.
John Stewart is John Stewart for the win. Just leave it at that.
All right, John Stewart,
so
bueno, muy bueno.
Muy bueno.
But
back to J.K. Simmons and his decrepit ass.
Yes, please. To our first baggage character we'll go into, J.K. Simmons.
Yes.
What's up with
Where do we even begin?
What's up with J.K.?
his workout regimen for the role.
I was thinking about that too because we talked about that before. It's like he gets so fucking jacked. He's like gets casted as fucking Gordon, and it's like, oh hell yeah, man, he looks fucking good for his age, and he's in there.
His nose has a vein bulging out of it. Yeah, it's just ripped as shit. And then they're like, you're gonna wear a trench coat, another jacket over that, and a really big hat.
He's like, holy fuck, he looks
5 lines.
He looks bigger than everyone else. We gotta fucking put a bunch of clothes on him.
He's buffer than Batman. We can't do this. Put some clothes on. It was a disappointment. I feel bad because he's an important character in terms of like Batman's story because he's always going hand in hand and like, you know, helping him out. And here's the bat signal. Da 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 da. But this movie, he just felt so like you literally put him baggage character. That's what he was.
He was
there for no other reason, and he had very minimal lines.
He was there to tell them stuff. You know, I should actually move Cyborg to the motherfucking baggage category because he's just there to tell them things. That's exactly why Gordon was there. He was there to tell them things.
Yep.
Okay, so who else do we need to rip into? So how is Superman's character? Like, let me go into this. I'm not going to talk about Superman because everyone knows I hate Henry Cavill and I hate Superman, and I think that he's an incredibly boring person and an incredibly boring actor. I mean, like, maybe Henry Cavill is doing a great job, but I fucking cannot stand Superman. I hate Man of Steel.
When you think of genuine super enhanced superhero, you would think that the better of the two would be Superman. But unfortunately, our dear friend with the bushy beard on the MCU, Captain America, is kicking his ass. Chris Evans is a far better representative of a sincere hero, and it's hands down, just no comparison.
You know what the weakest part is that because Superman has different vulnerabilities than Captain America, because it's obviously you can threaten Captain America's life because he's not an immortal character like Superman. And that maybe it takes a little bit more thinking, a little bit more storytelling, a little bit more plot development for you to actually threaten Superman.
The only thing you really got over Superman is like, yo mama, or like, you know, kryptonite. That's all it is. Just yo mama jokes and kryptonite.
What's like one of the biggest like Superman like qualities is that he values human life more than anything, you know?
Yes.
So you got to threaten human life in order to take down Superman. That's what you have to do.
This movie did not do whatsoever because there was only about 4 human lives on that fucking truck, leaving that damn war zone.
That's it.
I honestly like, and that scene where he's like, he turns his ear and he's like, civilians. Bitch, where? Where? The city's empty. There's no civilians.
It's just dead, yes.
The town was empty. When I think of a scene where there's mass chaos, but you see people, I think of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, when ego is spreading. How many scenes did they show people? They showed distinguishable people running away. They showed a car getting stuck. They showed explosions. They showed, like, panic. That is what you need.
You need to show that there's the urgency to run the fucking... Just run away.
Run away. Exactly. And his mustache.
Lord have mercy.
Should we get into the mustache yet?
Go ahead. Rip into this. Rip into this mustache. Yes, okay. Get the mustache.
Well, Warner Brothers had the bright idea to cover up Henry Cavill's mustache for another film of his, which is probably equally as garbage, maybe even a little worse, because it's only him, and decided, instead of having him shave that because it's business-related, we're going to CGI it out. Now, unfortunately, this is at a point past the green screen scene with Aquaman in the water, so you can already see that their technology is very shitty. Unfortunately, from a side view, Henry Cavill's face is squished. His mustache, someone sat on it. It's gone. He has this, lack of a lip. It's gross. And his lines are very cliche when he says it. So, the pain. Oh. Johnny, please, continue for me.
Okay, so that's Superman's character, pretty much. He opens up, halfway into the film and whatnot, and they show I'm not gonna really talk about it, but yeah, Superman, you know him. They pretty much just kind of go over the same shit. Like, he likes Lois Lane, he likes Martha, and whatnot. That's about it. That's all you need to know. So Batman, he's putting together a team.
Special abilities.
Yeah, and somewhat they try to tell you. They try. Here, I'm gonna be very specific and listen. They try to tell you that Batman is guilty for killing Superman. They tell you this, and I say this specifically that way because they do not show it anywhere whatsoever. They do not make this like they don't want you. They don't try to make it to where it's like, oh, they don't try to make it to where you connect the dots in your head. Literally, Wonder Woman has to tell the audience. Yeah.
Even Superman's character. You don't want me alive. You don't want me dead. What do you want?
Correct.
And it's like the fact that it has to come down to that point of saying, okay, you're the one to blame.
I just feel insulted from like as an audience member, and it's insulting when people have films have to do that. That's because all of these characters were very, I would just say below average. I just feel like exhausted. Be like, well, it's bad.
The only thing that kept the integrity of the movie moderately consistent was Wonder Woman.
Right.
The only part.
At times, I feel like her credibility was broken when she had to interact with other characters. Say, Batman, when she had to tell him, like, oh, you just feel bad for killing Superman, when she had to break down and interact with Cyborg's character. It's like she was also another tool of exposition. She's like, she has to expose these characters and unwrap what they're feeling and what they're thinking and what you should feel about them and how you should feel about them. She has to do that. She did it with Cyborg. She did it with Batman as well. She wanted you to, like, because they can't accurately present these characters and lead you on to where you can connect the dots yourself and accumulate these own thoughts of your own. They have to tell you that directly what to think, which is very bad. Otherwise, she was solid character, very happy with how they did her again. Alfred as well, very solid. I find it funny as fuck that the actor that played him, I cannot remember his name at the moment. What'd he say? I think he completely shit on Batman versus Superman and just called it a bad film. I find that hilarious.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes right here.
Okay.
Steppenwolf.
Oh, God.
So, what fucking character? So, they tell you that this is a bad guy right here. You know what? This is the bad guy that's threatening the world, that is going to bring doom upon everyone and kill almost 10 billion people on this planet. And he's going to kill a Kryptonian and the Batman and Aquaman, kill all the Atlanteans, kill all the Amazons, kill everyone. And
just erase everyone off the face of the earth.
You know what they presented? A CGI glob. That's what they presented.
Yep.
I don't even remember what he looks like. Just a CGI glob that was just so... I mean, I've shit on, like, Marvel before. Not shit on, but I've said, they've had some pretty weak villains before. But god damn, this is the weakest... This one is pretty damn weak.
He died like a bitch.
I don't even remember how he died, Sly. It's just kind of... Yeah.
The fact that the villain does not have a memorable end to a film is a red flag.
You know what what I did enjoy about it? Was I did like that fight with the Amazons. I thought that was pretty intense. I thought that was bueno.
I think we can agree that the best part of the movie was the Amazonian... Oh, you're talking about the present-day Amazonian fight.
Yes, that one.
Yes, that was also good. But as far as... I think that underwater fight against the Atlanteans, very poor. Oh, God.
Yes.
Sad. It was bad. Really bad.
Not that good.
The Amazonian fight... really good. It was extensive. You could see the urge to protect the mother box and run away. Mm-hmm. It was great. I loved it. And obviously the flashback of Diana's was also phenomenal.
Of course. And I like how when they presented Steppenwolf and you had the Amazonian Queen there or whatever, you could feel a connection there. Like, you saw that connection. You saw that heated rivalry, and you're like, this has happened before, and these characters. have set up precautions, and like they're like, you just know that something has happened in the past and that they're not willing to let it happen again. And even though like Steppenwolf was, they overpowered them and everything like that. Yeah. But I also forgot to talk about the Flash. He was just a use for comedy and whatnot. Yes.
And I was very upset about his outfit.
Yes, I didn't like that either. Like, I saw pictures of it, and I'm like, yeah, it looks really futuristic, you know? Like, I can kind of dig it, but then in the actual film, he looked like a robot at times.
Can we talk about his running?
I also wasn't a big fan of, like, how the Speed Force was presented. I just thought it was kind of annoying to see.
Thank you. The Speed Force bothered the living daylights out of me because they did it no justice. His form as a runner. He, as a previous track athlete,
this boy's a track champion. He runs to my state every single day and gives me a hug.
Yeah. You know what? I'm the mail carrier for the Foundry, bitch. So you gotta accept it.
Yeah, he runs and gives me a hug every single morning.
I do. I can't live without Johnny's hugs. It's just,
ditto. That's what keeps me going. You know, if I don't have a stream in the morning, that means I didn't get my hug. That's exactly what happens.
It's times like these when I need a hug, when we're just bashing into shit movies. Oof.
But please continue. Flash, Speed Force and his running.
The Flash, his running is just bad. If any of you watched the TV series The Flash, even Grant Gustin's form looks more realistic for a character as gifted in one thing called running as the Flash. In this movie, he's literally prancing everywhere. One leg touches the ground for like 5 seconds. It's cringy. He's literally like just skipping around at a really fast speed, and he even at one point says, "I've never hit anybody. I just push people and run away." That's adorable. Sure, right. You have so many talents, and that's what you do? Okay, right. Mm-hmm. All he was a ploy device for comedy, and really weakened. To put a metal suit on him, which I was already upset that he was the one that somehow constructed it when he is a lab technician. Technically, he's going to be. He's going to work for it because of Bruce Wayne, of course. Yeah. He's a sciencey guy on the chemical side. He's not mechanically inclined.
He's not an engineer himself.
That would be Wally West. So I was very triggered when I saw the metal suit. I was like, you're not that talented, homeboy, so don't put it on. Just absolutely, really, really poor character.
Yeah, that's why times like this, like, we're wondering, like, hey, maybe we need a little bit more exposition of these characters. Maybe you could go over Bruce Wayne saying, hey, where'd you get this fancy outfit from? Something like that. Or him like, oh, I worked in Star's Labs or something like that as well. Yeah. But, like, nothing of the sort was said or mentioned.
Instead, we get the cliche, I'm putting together a team. Hold it, I'm in. I don't have any friends. I can see why. That's...
Yes. But, yeah, I'd say that was all the characters. Did you want to talk about any of the other amazing characters that were presented in this film?
Amazing characters. Wow. Ooh, how about Victor Stone, his father.
His papa?
His papa.
Just some baggage, you know? Barely. Yeah. He said, like, he wants what's best for his son, but he's completely pushed his son away. His son's just extremely resentful. Again, this character is just used to show how Cyborg is turning the other cheek on his former human self, I guess you could say.
Yes. The relationship at the end of the film was a complete 180, and it bothered me because Cyborg had achieved something that in all the other depictions of him, he spent years working at trying to fix his relationship with his father, or at least like establish a new relationship with his father. But after this little, no civilians at threat kind of war where we saved the world or 4 people in a truck, he's just like, yeah, daddy, we're cool. Look what I can do. And I didn't like it. I liked the suit upgrade, but I wasn't a fan of the way he did it because if I'm not mistaken, I've never seen him be able to just morph his metal body like so.
Right.
None of the depictions show him like that. He usually is mechanically inclined. He actually builds attachments, if I'm not mistaken. I always think of like that Teen Titans version of him. That was great. I love that. But once again, animated DC versus big screen DC.
Right. But at the very beginning of the film, they did present like the jetpack thing, and he's like, well, I wasn't able to do this last night, so at least they planted some roots in it at the very beginning, saying like maybe that it's so out of his body and his mind is so out of control that he can't even like keep up with it almost, or something like that.
I was curious how he was so knowledgeable about what to do with the mother boxes when he didn't know most of the movie what to do with his own body.
Right.
When he lashes out at Superman, I just had this, what? And you fucked up moment. I was just like, I don't get this. I don't get this. And then when it comes to these mother boxes, you seem to know everything in between, around, under, on, about these things.
When you know who should be actually, like, just telling us about the mother boxes, the ones guarding it. Like, maybe one guy from Atlantis that was guarding it, maybe the one girl from Amazonia that was guarding it, maybe?
Yeah. And then as far as the one that man had buried that it seems that Victor had come across, he could have explained how he got it.
Mm-hmm.
How his father had encountered it and like a detailed story. Because I can imagine that thing came at a cost, obviously, for his life, but just encountering that thing should have been quite a bit of drama. And they didn't even show that.
Or even, that's the thing, it's like, well, they didn't show this. And there's a lot of issues with that, because if you show it, it's more impactful, of course. But they were so lazy, they refused to even explain or go over it really quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just poor writing, poor characters. So, but with the plot, very weak villain. Didn't explain any consequences to them actually failing or them not protecting the mother boxes. Or to even like Steppenwolf, what the consequences were going to be. But I'd say they did their best trying to introduce these characters and try to show them their lives and what they have going on, even though like they have real problems, like Barry Allen and his father, and like Victor Stone and his father, like Superman and his family and stuff like that, and Batman trying to redeem himself. Like they have all these like subplots going on, and they try to do their best by sticking to their guns, showing exposition for these new characters, and trying to show you like they're also have some human sides that you can feel empathetic for. Yeah.
Well put.
Well, so we pretty much went over the main detailed points Sly and I wanted to go over, but now we're going to head to the spoiler territory. You know, we like to call it the spoiler zone. Let's talk about, do a little open discussion, you guys, for this. So, I'm just going to go ahead and say I thought the film was fucking boring. I thought it was a boring-ass film. A lot of the times through this review, you've been mentioning specific things that kind of like get you irritated. And I'm like, I don't even remember what the fuck you're talking about, because it was so much nothing. I remember, I don't even think I watched after credits. I'm just starting to question if I even finished the film, because I don't even know what you're talking about with Victor Stone and his father. Like, wait, they got back together? Like, everything's fine?
I'm
like,
actually having a hard time remembering if they even had after credits.
And I'm like, I saw stuff.
That's another disappointment.
And when it's like, oh, blah, 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 Darkseid's too early. I'm like, Darkseid was mentioned in this film? Like, none of this. Like, I don't remember any of this.
A-list enemy that soon after you fucked up? What?
Yeah.
Oh, after credits. Now I remember what they did. Oh.
What was it?
I don't know. How do you feel about our current Lex Luthor? You know? The one from Now You See Me, little kid?
I'm not a fan.
I'm not a fan of his bald-headed ass either.
I'm going to go ahead and say, just like, for my preference, like, I understand, like, oh, well, it's already been done before in the comics and the DC films. We're going for something different. But I'm going to go ahead and say, I just don't like him. I think he's annoying. I think it's just annoying. So tell me about this awesome Lex Luthor that we all love.
Our little buddy, Double L, is found on a yacht, and a mercenary, we'll call him, with a name of pretty much, the original play on Wade Wilson, Slade Wilson.
Oh!
He walks up to him and they exchange quick, stupid, really corny banter as the whole movie had done before. And essentially he's like, well, maybe we should form our own group. And I just want to literally just yell, roll credits, Suicide Squad 2, because it's going to be that big of a flop.
Oh my goodness.
I can just sense it, whether Justice League 2 is going to be Injustice League versus Justice League, or the Injustice Gang, or, you know, whatever the hell they want to call it. Mm-hmm. It's not going to make amends.
They need it. They're on the ropes here. Like, they need a banger quick.
I don't think they're going to be able to present one, especially with Aquaman this year. I hate to say it, but they're just, they should just sell their rights to Disney. Just have a Marvel DC merger, because
I don't even want that. I'm just so sick and fucking tired of watching, like, oh, we need a new Batman, we need a new Flash. I'm just sick and fucking tired of just seeing these things and be like, people, I'm not excited for it. I'm tired of people being excited for it. I'm like, nope, don't be excited. It's going to be fucking shit.
No. I'm sorry, but the only things I'm excited for these days are Infinity War, obviously, Deadpool, and actually Venom. I actually have a little bit of excitement over Venom.
Oh yeah, with the new trailer and him showing his goop.
His goop, yeah.
That recently did happen. But I would like to say as well, Slade Wilson, I like him a lot. I like Slade Wilson a lot as well. I think he's pretty fucking cool.
I don't see him working alongside Lex Luthor.
No, neither do I. I don't see Lex working alongside with anyone. I kind of would like to see some other characters. I don't know. I don't even know what the fuck I want to see. This their problem, not mine. I don't know what the hell they need to do.
I'm very scared of a CGI gorilla that's telepathic. I'm very scared of that.
That's the obvious next step, right?
Harambe is just going to be reading your mind. I'm very worried.
I think that's going to be the obvious next step, but yeah. I know they won't head into like Batman villain territory at all, because it's been done so much over the past couple of years of the cinema. I mean, because Batman movies have been the only representation out of DC, like for the past 15 years, well enough, honestly. I guess.
He's the only one really that has carried DC long enough to have made it to a Justice League.
Right.
He's the only one, because you can constantly bring different depictions of him, because he has such a cliche story and such easy pivotal points you can touch on. Mm-hmm. And with things like the Dark Knight trilogy or the original Batman with Michael Keaton and things like that, obviously we have a few hiccups like George Clooney and his nipple armor, thing that we don't like to talk about that.
Don't forget about the Bat card as well.
The Bat card, right. What was that thing, like 8
He doesn't leave house without it.
He doesn't, no.
Anyways, you're saying?
It's just, that's honestly what has brought in all of their money to do this. And I thought after watching Wonder Woman, I was like, they saved themselves, They're not, quite dead yet. When I saw the first 20 minutes of Justice League, I was like, no, they're fucked. They're fucked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out if I enjoyed Batman versus Superman more or this film. I think BV.
Wow, that's a tough.
I think Batman versus Superman I enjoyed a little bit more, because I like I remember really liking the introduction of Batman in that movie, of him being like, he's Batman but old and doesn't give a fuck anymore.
That's true.
Because it kind of reminded me of Thomas Wayne Batman a little bit. From the Flashpoint arc.
Yes.
But I think that's a decent wrap for the review, unless you have any more points you want to go over, Sly?
I guess maybe a few other scenes and just sheer disappointment in them. I guess we could touch on the relationship actually between Bruce Wayne and Diana Prince. That tension there did not get resolved whatsoever, and it didn't develop either. And
no, it didn't.
It bothered me. It really bothered me. It's just seeing, what was it? Fucking Alfred even makes a remark, and he's like, I'm into her strictly for her qualities. And he's just like, sure you are.
Right.
It's like, okay, well, where's this going? And then the whole, I bought the bank. Did you need to do that? Really? Wow. That's very nice. It's touching.
He is money. He's all these characters are so
has money,
two-dimensional.
And then the setup, do you remember at the very end when they're looking at that big table, that room?
I do. When they mention the like, oh, we need a table, you know, like it's like pretty
With
much it's gonna
room
be
for
the
more.
Justice League room kind of thing.
Yes. Correct me if I'm wrong. Most depictions of the Justice League headquarters is like a space station, correct?
Specifically from the Justice League TV series, yes, it is a space station because Earth is not the only place that needs to be defended.
Yeah.
Pretty much
But
why. Yeah.
in the comics, is there an actual headquarters on land?
I don't know, actually.
Okay. It just bothered me seeing this like musty ass decrepit house and hearing, yeah, it's a great place for a bunch of heroes to hide out. Sure, that's right. That'll totally work out, especially with, characters like Steppenwolf that teleport literally on top of the mother boxes.
Right.
Great idea. That was one of my big pet peeves. I'm like, how did this man just literally spawn right next to it?
Yeah, that's actually kind of confusing. It's like you already know where it is. Just fucking teleport there.
Just
Or literally, just move it to where someone doesn't know where it is. Just move it, and then you'll be fine. That's all you got to do, and he won't know to teleport it there. It's not like he's gonna go look himself.
No, he's definitely not, and he's not gonna do that well either.
Man, what a fucking lazy ass character.
Oh, God.
What a very lazy film.
Batman's fighting. Oh.
Batman even seemed a little weak, you know? Obviously, like they said, like they're making it very clear that he is an older Batman and he is wore down. It's like, dude, you've been in 2 movies. Like, give it a fucking minute before you say, I'm getting a little too old for this one. Give it a fucking minute before
older
that.
Batman, I think of that
Beyond.
angry Batman that's just like, you know what? Fuck my rules. I'm just gonna whoop ass.
Mm-hmm.
I think of that Batman. But then I see him and he's like, oh, my groin. Oh, it's like, that. What? No. Come on. But Batman didn't give a shit. Right. Batman's supposed to be the one character that's just callous always. Like, oh, I don't care. I'm just fine. Right. He doesn't get hurt, doesn't complain about anything. He just goes out there, does it, comes home, sips on pina coladas, and does it again.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very disturbed by that.
Yeah, I really don't like anyone's representation of the character themselves. Just Wonder Woman, really.
Yeah, that's really it.
Just Wonder Woman.
That's really it. But on that note, I think we've dug into every shitty aspect this movie had to offer, honestly.
And if people say that, like, oh, you guys have just completely talked shit, I said they did their best doing some stuff, and that we're completely understandable that 2 different directors did this movie, that they had a huge time limit, that they had a lot of care, like, and we talked about things that we enjoyed as well. So, yes. Like I said, I thought Alfred did a very good job as well as a character. And
Alfred is yes.
Yeah, so, like, we did mention lots of positives, but a lot more negatives because the movie had a lot of negatives to mention. We're going to go ahead and give out the Foundry official score for this movie at a solid, not 1, not 2, not 3.
Not 3.
But 4. 4 stars out of 10 for this film. That's what the Foundry is saying here today, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep, 4 out of 10.
Yes, hopefully we'll be back soon coming at you with some more reviews because stuff is coming out like Infinity War. Also have a plan to do Jessica Jones Season 2 review as well to follow up Punisher Season 1 review with John and Daz. I will be probably back again with Daz to do Jessica Jones, and I have not seen Infinity War yet. I only know of Daz watching it over in Ireland at a midnight viewing, so he's got the scoop on it.
He's got the drop, wow.
Definitely. But Sly, thank you so much for doing the review today with me.
Anytime.
Yes,
I will do it anytime.
This is actually, ladies and gentlemen, this is Sly's first appearance over on the Foundry channel, which is, if you don't know who he is, he's a awesome Let's Player. Him and I do collabs all the time. If you don't know, now you know. Yeah, him and I do collabs all the time. If you guys want to follow our YouTube channels, we do tons of gaming videos if you guys are interested. The links will be down below in the description. I am 97 Johnny Boy. This is Sly Kiko. And you guys can also follow us on Twitter. Say you like our personalities ton. You want to follow some pretty dope guys that know some shit about film and superheroes. Sly, your Twitter handle is what?
Sly Kiko 3.
All right, mine is at 97 Johnny Boy, so you guys can follow us up on Twitter. And make sure to subscribe and like the video to help support the Foundry so we can release more videos for you guys, because it is a struggle out here being a content creator, especially a group one. There's tons of links that you get. There's tons of things that you guys can do. You guys can support us by following us on Twitch. You guys can follow the Foundry official Twitter. You guys can check out the Patreon page. At least just check it out, you guys. It's not required to donate, but if you guys want to help us out financially, you guys can donate so we can keep up with all these videos, all these streams for you guys, and just keep throwing some content at your way. And if you want to help out some of your favorite content creators, we would definitely appreciate it. And let us know, guys, what you think about Justice League, and maybe we'll be in the comments to talk to you a bit about it. But thanks, Sly, for doing this.
Of course.
And we'll see you guys later on the next Foundry video. Bye.
See.